Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keane from God TV Radio, and today we're going to be doing a video about our views on Girl Does Rant. Very exciting.
You know, Brett, until your video, I'd never even heard of Girl Does Rant, so thanks for that. But in the meantime, let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers, BionicDance here, and yes, today we're dealing with Keane. I haven't made a video to or about him in a very long time, usually because he's just not worth it, but this one tweaked something for me and I felt I just had to respond. And before he even gets started, Bretty Poo commits a logical fallacy. He reasons from 1 to infinity. You see, he calls his video Atheism is Child Indoctrination, and then spends the entire vid focusing on one atheist YouTuber as if she's representative of every atheist on the planet. Anybody with an ounce of logic or reason should be able to see the problem with that.
So Girl Does Rant, can you tell us a little bit about your videos, what it is that you're striving for?
Hi there, I'm the girlie.
Whoa, now hold on there just a second. When you described her like this, Brett...
That girl with the average yet stupid mask that has her boobs out in every single video.
Boy, was I ever picturing something different. Now, on with the show.
And in the spirit of answering your questions while simultaneously filleting my own ego, have a Q&A video. I get asked a lot of questions across a lot of platforms, so I thought doing a fun little video to answer some would be nice. I will preempt the obvious out of the way right now. I wear the mask because I'm secretly an eldritch abomination, and the sight of my true face would drive you mad.
I see. So your claim, Brett, is that an amusing aside at the beginning of a Q&A video tells us this chick's mission statement. Okay.
Oh, I thought that you wore the mask in order to not be held accountable for some of the nasty, disgusting things you do on the internet, like most atheist trolls who wear costumes and masks. I could be wrong.
I wish I could take that as genuine. So few are willing to admit that they could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure it was sarcasm. And there are plenty of reasons to wear a mask, Brett. For starters, some could live in an area where, if they were known as atheists, they could lose their job, their family, or even just plain have their ass kicked. Others do it as a gimmick or a hook to draw in and keep viewers. But how exactly would wearing a mask keep her from being held accountable? Okay, granted, not very many YouTubers have had an outraged viewer reach through the screen, grab them by the collar, and slap them across the face for being offensive. And while I've never heard a story of someone being hunted down offline for YouTube comments, I suppose there's a few rare cases where it might have happened. Maybe. I hate to think what might happen if I encounter a certain someone at the American Atheist Convention coming up. But not held accountable? How can you possibly mean that? Is it not accountable enough that some people lose any respect and a lot of their subscribers for shit they've pulled that they shouldn't? Has no one's reputation ever been trashed for bad behavior? Between that and being blocked or banned, that's how people are held accountable on the internet. And no mask can stop that.
Like in this particular video right here, you spend a great deal of time moaning and groaning and bitching about how religious people make money for their churches and how Christians indoctrinate people and that they abuse children by teaching them about Jesus Christ and God and heaven and hell and all that good stuff. Now, I find it interesting that while you're making videos talking about other people making money, you're sitting here making $20 off of a video in which you're talking about people making money, yet you're not happy with that.
Which on the surface may seem like hypocrisy until one considers the context. Because it's clearly not the making of money that's the issue here. It's how that money was acquired and how it will eventually be spent. You see, for some of us, YouTube has kind of become our job. My Patreon patrons keep me from poverty and allow me to save up enough to be able to buy more computers to use as a render farm for my animation work. which they then get to see. It's kind of the opposite of a vicious circle. It's a beneficial parallelogram. Beneficial parallelogram. That's the name of my new band. But rather than being used to keep people entertained and get the occasional drink at the club, church money is usually going to causes that interfere unwelcome in other people's lives. You know the sort of thing I mean, like forcing them to conform to church standards of birth control, or re-educating allegedly gay kids, or stopping gay marriage, and so on, and so on. People can watch my videos or not, Brett, but the church seems to think that we must all obey. And that's not okay. It's not just the money, Bretty Pooh. It's what's going to be done with it.
You know what I find interesting? When Christians talk about their religion with young people or older people, we usually don't find ourselves in situations where we're standing before a God believer or a Christian who has their shirt wide open and their breast pointing out at the screen. I've noticed every single video by this particular individual to have her shirt open and have her breast exposed.
So? It's called marketing, Brett. Like it or not, YouTube is an entertainment venue just as much as a platform for discussing issues. And if you want to get heard, you've got to draw in the audience. An area where, let's face it, you fail. Alright, so she's showing cleavage. And put that on a movie poster and you'll put bums on seats. That's just how it works. Use every asset you've got to draw in the audience so they'll even start to listen to your message. Do you think that people like, say, Jacqueline Glenn, and obviously not just her, would get the views that they do if a significant portion of the internet didn't think they were complete babatrons? Don't be silly. It may be shallow of the entire population, but looks will light a fire under people to start watching someone else. I mean, hell, how do you think Fox News chooses their female anchors? If I looked like some of these YouTuber chicks, I'd probably at least double my subscriber base, but I get told I'm ugly often enough, and worse, and that probably doesn't help my numbers. And sure, right now I bet some of my more loyal subscribers are already typing in how hot they think I am, but let's face it, guys, you're the minority demographic on this issue. I love you for it, but come on, I'd rather be butt ugly with integrity than a lying hottie any day. Still, if I had a rack like this Girl Does Rants chick, you think I wouldn't use it? She's got melons and I'm barely smuggling apples. Let's face it, she gets to make sense. I have to. And you, Brett? Well, again with the brutal honesty. You're shaped like a potato, and I bet it doesn't do you any favors. But that's not the only place you fail at marketing, Brett. Do you realize how long your intro is? 49 seconds. 49 frickin' seconds, just short of a minute. Anyone with even an ounce of attention span problems is already going out for popcorn. Compare that to my own intro, which is just barely over 8.5 seconds long. And I talk through the last 2 or 3. It's just barely enough time to identify myself, for the logo to look pretty, and then to be over before anyone has a chance to get bored. I didn't go to film and animation school for nothing, you know. Learn how to edit, dude. Seriously. Like it or not, YouTubers are making a product just as much as a message, and we have to make people think that it's worth the price of admission, namely their time and attention. And, like it or not, this Girl Does Rant chick is doing it right. Compare your channel to hers. She has just under 24,000 subscribers, and her videos get between 5 and 24,000 views. You have 251 subscribers, and most of your videos don't even crack the 350 view mark. Hell, compare her channel to mine. I've got 16,000 subscribers, and most of my videos hover around the 2,000 view mark. And she's been doing this a year. I've been at it since 2008. Obviously, she's doing something right that neither of us are, and I suspect that her message isn't terribly different from mine. Like I said, I didn't know about her until your video, so I can't know for certain, but I think it's a reasonable guess. So if you're gonna bitch and moan about the fact that she shows cleavage, get over it. It's part of the game. Like it or not, we're in the job of marketing just as much as any TV station.
But when the children come over and subscribe to her thinking that they're going to be hearing about the secret world or perhaps the movie Godzilla, which is down here, they also get to run into videos like this, Top 10 Sex Toys. Interesting. Then we get to see the G-spot.
Racy content? On the internet? Why wasn't I informed? Brett, you're starting to sound like John Lithgow's preacher father character from Footloose, trying to keep kids from being exposed to the real world because it makes you uncomfortable. Are you aware that what you seem to be advocating here amounts to censorship? If you want to keep your own kids away from people who make videos with which you take issue, fine. But a lot of secular, and I bet even some religious parents, have the courage to let their kids see what's out there, confident that they'll make the right decision.
See, right here, we've got kids and faith. So she attracts and seduces individuals to come into her videos.
Seriously, Brett? Why don't you just accuse her of handing out candy to small children on the street? You're as bad as people who try to claim that atheism is responsible for atrocities committed by Mao or Stalin. People can have multiple interests, Brett, and nobody is trying to seduce children with video games to get them to watch a video exposing religion's flaws. Right now, I can't tell if what you're doing is paranoia or scapegoating, but either way, it has zero basis in fact.
So, what does Girl Does Rant actually sound like?
The only possible reason you could have for wanting to put that in your video is to follow through on your absurd notion of what it means to be held accountable on the internet, and so do a roundabout form of half-assed doc dropping. Not cool, Brett. Not cool. And I'm spent. Until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please, think. People not subscribing to BionicDance is one sign of the apocalypse. Save us all. Subscribe now.